Hey YouTube, we are back with yet another video on the Ford Ranger build, and in this update video I guess we have a little bit to talk about. First clips of obviously, hopefully you saw, it was running, so it finally went alive I guess. The big step for builds like these, it's always a good day. I've been working on this about since March of last year, and almost a year to the day, I guess, we finally got it running under its own power. Still a lot to do, but that was a good thing. It ran for about 20-25 minutes. I only, pieced together a few clips because it kind of got boring after a while, you know how it is. But wasn't running quite right, all that white smoke was, that was after it was running for a good 15 minutes. We shouldn't have had any of that white smoke in there by then, but it did, and it was because it was running rich. Had this old Holley carburetor on here, and this was all rebuilt. So it was nothing like stuck or anything. We tried adjusting these fuel level screws right here, and then we even had the view ports open to adjust the level accordingly. And no matter what we did with the screw level, it was still pouring out of the view level, so it was getting too much fuel. And in the end we kind of said, okay, it might be a stuck needle valve. It wasn't. We took off the fuel bowls, played with it a little bit. It wasn't anything like that. It wasn't up too high. It was nothing to do with that. So it was kind of frustrating. Couldn't figure it out. We played around with that for a while. And then, so I obviously it's between, there is no return line on this, or it's just a power valve or something like that. We are not sure. This is a pretty old carburetor. Like, you don't get you see all that carbon buildup. What I'm trying to say is it's a very old carburetor. It's actually pre-93 or 91. I don't remember because it doesn't have a power valve check valve. And all the Holleys past that date had those. So this is obviously more than 30 years old, and it could also be more than that. You just know at least it is at least 30 years old. So it was kind of between getting a new carburetor altogether or or something different, which is what right here. New carburetors ran between $200 to $400. Obviously you could get a used one, but I didn't want to get a used one because you could end up with one just as bad as that one. So that wasn't something I was going to consider. I ended up just finding, these Holley snipers, and I researched them like quite a lot. And I kind of, was very drawn to it. I really do not have a lot of carburetor experiences at all. This is going to be an off-road truck. It's going to be going up dunes primarily. So it's going to be a real hard time. And it also has a cam in it as well. So it's really going to be hard adjusting everything just right and get it just right to where it's going to run great on dunes, on trails, it'll idle, and it'll do all that. It's going to be really finicky, and especially for someone who doesn't know a lot about carburetors. I don't want to be relying on my grandpa, hey, you have to, I just don't want to rely on him to do everything. He has his own projects, and I appreciate his help, but I just don't want to do that to him, I guess. But so this was a good option. This was $800, so it was obviously by a little bit, I mean, $400 more than even the most expensive carburetor option. But it's going to be totally EFI, or as much of EFI as I can get. I got this truck as a project. The EFI was just so messed up by the previous owner with those wiring. There was no chance you were going to get a solid, real EFI setup in here without a huge amount of work. It wasn't going to happen, and I wasn't interested in doing it. So this is about as EFI as you could possibly get for this truck, and I'm hopefully it's going to work. I just got it mocked up on there. I'm going to start hooking up all the sensors real soon, and we'll get this running again. Next thing I want to talk about, I guess, is I have almost finished the brake lines. It's been a while since I touched this stuff, but I picked up a master cylinder the other day. I already had the booster, but I just installed them here. I've created all the brake lines. This is the one for the front, two front ones, and then that one down there is from the rear, and then it goes off to a T-splitter back there, obviously. But right now I just gotta bleed that, and I'm gonna bench bleed it with this little kit thing I got over here. It's like $8 at AutoZone. We'll see how it does. I'm gonna bench bleed it on the truck because you could work the pedal on the booster. It's a way easier setup to be doing than just messing with a screwdriver. But that's gonna happen. I hope to get these brakes done this weekend, and then that's done. I'll focus totally on my on these sensors, and then we're gonna drive the truck. It'll be another big step. We did another thing we did start wiring things up, you know, permanently. This is the HEI ignition module. You know, obviously I think in the last update video it was just on a piece of wood, you know, for mocked up purposes to understand the concept. Now we understand the concept, we just put it over there and wired it up permanently. Some of these wires, these looms right here, are from that, and they do go into the cab. And I'm making an ignition board right now to, you know, start and run the truck, but the wires make their way right here. But yeah, get more into that in another update video. I'm also going to start putting the dash back together. I mean, this truck's not going to look great. It's never going to be show truck quality, but I at least want the interior to not look like that. Let's put it like that. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. We ripped out a lot of the old fuel injected stuff. Still some bits on it on the floor, but we gotta clean that up, I guess. You know, it was very hacked up. There was no way you were gonna get an Explorer motor and say, okay, drop it in, plug into the EFI, existing EFI stuff. It was gonna be a big headache. So this, honestly, best option. So with that, I hope this thing will be driving soon. So I guess look out for that. And thanks for supporting the build, and peace out.